This is Dr. Von Madden. We're about to put the leaves onto the scale tree before I go off to surgery tomorrow. So I'll show you what we're going to do. We've got some more of this green craft foam, or craft felt. You could use foam, I suppose, but I don't think it'd be as good. We're going to cut it into circles, like I'm doing here. Save these shreds, they'll be good for other stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut kind of a little bit of a pinking out of this. Like that. Like so. Drag this out. Like I said, save these little bits. You might be able to use them for something else in your scenery. Yeah. I'll have to try to figure out while I'm out with my knee on how to continue to do video. But we'll work out something, because I'm not sure how much longer my legs are going to go. See, the podiatrist basically said that degenerative arthritis in both feet, and that the Achilles tendons in both legs has calcified. Now, one of these days when I have time, I'll show you my legs and kind of give you an idea of exactly what's going on with me. But right there for the moment is kind of this little, kind of a crude sunburst. Now what we're going to do, glue this top side. See how that worked? Now we're going to do the same thing, and we'll cut another disc like that. We'll make it slightly smaller. See, something about that size maybe. So, kind of do the same thing. This time I'm just going to cut it because I don't want them quite as spread far apart, because it's a smaller disc and I don't want to go cutting into it any more than necessary. There we go. Now what you want to do here is just kind of waffle it a little bit to kind of get it folded in and out. You can definitely tell there's different leaves in there, and if you can't do that, you may end up having to jag some of it off to differentiate. See. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and snip a little bit of it out. That'll kind of give you the idea. See. Kind of wad it up, and you can kind of get more of a, see, that looks a little better. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue that piece right there. Now let's spin this around a bit, because we got one more branch to do this with right there. See, now then, go and cut another disc, and try not to get too much of this stuff into the thing. And I do have one other task I'm going to do before I head to bed, because I've got to get up at 4 in the morning to go to over here to have my leg operated on. But I did not want, I wanted to at least get some of this project done before I went off, because I'm not sure how well the logistics are going to allow me to come in here and work during that point. I am going to try to give you guys a blog in the morning. Hopefully on the way there, once I'm there waiting for surgery, and finally, maybe if they'll let me when I get out there. If they hold me overnight, I'll probably do a blog from hospital. But let's hope that I'll be home, guys. Let's see, now we got one with slightly wider, shorter leaves, and we're going to put those in place right here. Now let's see how this looks all together. Move this paint over. What do you think, guys? Pretty cool looking project, isn't it? What do you think, guys? Now, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this Christmas green. I'm going to get a little pinch of it off, just a little tiny bit. Let's get this cleaned off here. Do I have something to clean it off with? Well, I'm going to use the poster board here to kind of drain off some of this. Now, get just a bare hint of that, and as we've shown you before, over here, just kind of dry brush it off as much of it as you can. See, because I don't want it getting too much on there. Now we're going to move our steg, because we don't want him anywhere near this when I start doing this, because we got a few little things we got to deal with. So right now what we're going to do is we'll come over here, just kind of dry brush this around this. See, it's kind of creating like a little bit of a mossy effect. I think there's a little bit of moss or something in there. We're going to do the same thing, especially up around the edge of this. We'll get a little more of this, dry brush a little bit more of it off because I don't want it too heavy. But especially up around shore. Now if you've ever been around a waterway, you know that right up around here there's always going to be just a little bit around in here. So what we're going to do is dry brush a little bit of this green up here around this and up around here. And if you get a little bit in the water, it's not going to be much consequence because you're going to have algae in the water. See. Well, now the next step I'm going to do, I will be back in a minute with. Alright, we're back, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do now. I got a bunch of these little cocktail toothpicks. You're going to have to shear this end off of it here and kind of blunt this tip here. You can actually cut these in half because I don't want them too long anyway. We'll move this base out of the way for a few minutes. Turn off the glue gun because we're not going to be needing it for a bit. Because the next step, lay these out, and we'll cut got a handful of these little toothpick guys, and we're going to show you what we're going to do with each one of those. Because they can be cut at odd sizes, because whoever heard of all these being uniform anyway. So what we're going to do is these are going to be the reeds. Remember we was talking about reeds up around the water's edge? Now that's going to be our reeds. You can actually get quite a few of reeds out of just a few toothpicks. See, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this back, our base back around here, and I'll show you exactly how we're going to do this. It's going to involve a little bit of delicate work. Might have been a little premature in unplugging my glue gun, but we'll deal with it. This is going to be some detail work, so we're probably going to use a fine point brush in just a minute. Let me get this glue gun plugged back in. There we go. What we're going to do is around the water's edge. And we'll put another stick in my glue gun though. So we're running low. I want to get these reeds into place before I head to bed, because that's just kind of what dedication is, ain't it? I'll put just a few of them, just right around this water's edge right here. See, just kind of scatter them out. They can stick up and they can lean over a little bit if you'd like that. And I'll plant just a few of these. Then I may put a little bit, a few right in here in front, kind of give it that appearance here. Now I'm going to plant one more here. Now we're going to put the rest of them in around this corner. I got two more. Now I could probably add more if I wanted to, but I really don't want to. So what we're going to do is plant those right there. And we're going to let them dry. When I come back, I'm probably going to have to touch up around the base of it with a little bit of blue paint, but that'll be okay. And you'll see what we're going to be doing when the Stegosaur comes back into the picture. And I'll show you exactly where we're going to have him sitting now. He's going to be kind of maybe perched in, right in like this. And, you know, with his head just kind of among the reeds, or maybe even kind of like so. You know, don't really care for that pose, but maybe like this, where it looks like he's maybe pushing the reed out of the way himself. That's not too bad. So, see if we can get this to cool off. I'm going to grab the Christmas green again. Get some of this, because I'm going to be needing a heavier coat than I usually would. I got to find my needle brush. Ah, here we are. Very fine point brush, which is interesting because they use brushes like this when dusting off fossils of dinosaurs. See, we're going to come right up the side here. And kind of paint tops here. And we've got a few horsetails up around the base of it now. You know, all this scenery you're learning right now could also be used for any number of things. Military modeling, fantasy, sci-fi, wargaming. I mean, the possibilities here are nigh on endless. Model railroading. There's just any number of things you could do with this. And remember, don't just do what I'm doing here. It's your own little world that you're making. As Bob Ross once said. So I'm going to have to go in from the other side and paint the other side of these. Now I've got this one here that's kind of laying over. And I've got another one that's kind of pointing over this way. And I'll see. Now, spin him around here so I can get the other side of this. These reeds sticking up here. I may have to go in and touch up a little bit if I have to. Kind of touch up the rocks where I've probably brushed it with a little green. It'll be alright. You can't really see too much of what I'm doing under the shade, but we'll try to get it around where you can see. I'll have to go in probably and touch up some of this around the base of this where the rocks are. Now, spin this around again. So I've got this one side right along here that needs touched up just a hair. And that should do it. Now, like I said, I'll probably end up having to touch up some around those rocks, but there you are. Here, water weeds. Your reeds now. See, we'll have him coming like right up in like this, like he's coming down to get a drink. And see, this is coming together. What do you think, guys? If you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll be glad to have you. Hit the bell to get notifications. Wish me luck about the surgery tomorrow, and some of you have, and I thank them that has. And we'll see you cats on the flip side.